Hey everyone, if you're new to the channel, my name's Chris and I ride bikes. This is probably going to be my last HoverAir specific video, and so we'll cover two things. One, there was a recent significant update to the Hover app and the X1 firmware. And then at the end of this video, now that I've had this drone for a couple of months, I'll give you my brutally honest, longer term review. Again, I'm not affiliated with HoverAir or Zero Robotics in any way. I'm just a dude who loves bikes and bought this with my own money. And so first, the update. Yes, there is now a cycling specific mode for the HoverAir. There's actually kind of two modes in one, as there's an open spaces mode and a narrow spaces mode. So I'm thinking open spaces, probably more road bikes, maybe mountain biking out west, and then narrow spaces, think single track, more trees, more obstacles for the drone to avoid. So I'll get into how to get to cycling mode as well as switching between open spaces and narrow spaces in a second. But first, I had to take this thing out to the very first trail we tried this on to see if cycling mode offered any improvement from follow mode.
Current mode, cycling mode.
Nope. And wonderful. It crashed so hard that the battery popped out. Yeah, unfortunately, the very first flight crashed so badly it didn't even save the video. The battery actually popped out. But again, I had to remember, especially when I'm going through tighter sections of trail, you need to go, I mean, I was going maybe 50% trail speed to allow it to get around those obstacles before I sped up again. So I tried again. We'll go much slower.
Cycling mode.
So it's fine. It lost me.
Is not suitable for flight positioning. Please fly in a location with better ground texture.
So this was now different. What's now happening is, before with just follow mode, it ended most flights, maybe 75% of the time in a crash. What it's doing now is, as soon as it decides that it can't follow you safely, instead of crashing, it just stops where it is and lands in the middle of the trail and then starts to send out its homing signal sound. So in that, it's an improvement, but I wouldn't say it's necessarily following me any better than it did in follow mode. But I mean, the thing is, there's updates for this all the time. And so in theory, every time that you submit like your crash data from the Hover app to HoverAir, that's influencing the next update. And so it should just get better over time. So to get to the cycling modes, turn on your HoverAir and then open the Hover app. And then you're gonna go to Hover settings, and at the very top, you're gonna see your flight settings. Now, after you do the update, you'll see cycling modes. Click on cycling modes and go down to cycling environment. And there you can switch between narrow routes and open spaces. So if you're gonna be on a single track, go to narrow routes and then back out. And now the next time you use cycling mode, that's the version of cycling mode it'll use. Okay, so now my 2-month longer review. If you're using this drone for its intended purpose, where it really shines is as a follow drone. As long as you're being mindful of what trail you're on and, you throw it in your bag, you get to a cool section of trail that you want to film, throw it behind you, make sure that it's not, the craziest tightest part of the trail to give this thing its best shot. It's cool. I've never had anything like it. The image quality, I think, is fantastic for what it is, and for the price point. And I think the thing that gets me excited about it is that I am noticing little improvements kind of every time there's an update. So this really should get better over time. If you're buying it partly to just have a manual flying drone, I mean, it does that, but I would definitely, if that's what you're after, you could get a DJI Mini 3 for, probably $200 less than this. But as a follow camera, as a follow drone, really its only competition out there is a DJI Neo. And I would love to also get that drone, the DJI, and put these in a head-to-head, like on the same trail, to really see how they stack up against each other. Maybe I would be able to do that in a future video, we'll see. So now the bad. After, about a month or so, I had flown this quite a bit, and it suffered some damages. One of the propellers has, a crack on it. The frame itself has a few cracks. And so even though I purchased the HoverAir for $50, which is basically their kind of warranty, I went to their site to just see if I could just buy a repair kit, because that's all I needed. And at the time, like again, about a month and a half ago, they only had those for just the regular X1. They didn't have them for the X1 Pro. So I went through the HoverAir in the app and followed the instructions to submit the crash data, took pictures, sent that to them. In about 3 days or so, I got one email just kind of acknowledging that they received it, and then nothing. So then I reached out again like a week later to see what was going on. Nothing. Long story short, as far as their customer service goes, I don't even know that I would give their customer service a bad rating, because it's just non-existent. There's no phone number to call. I even got so ticked off at one point I was trying to find Zero Robotics, the parent company, and never even heard back from them either. Eventually, I did go back on the website, and now they have available the repair kit for the X1 Pro and Pro Max, which I purchased, and it arrived within about a week. But just the lack of customer service is kind of an unforgivable sin to me. So just that alone, I couldn't really recommend this drone until they get that sorted out. If you have the money to spend and this isn't a big purchase to you, I would say go for it. Just know that if you need any help, it's probably not coming. So that's it. I'm still going to continue to love flying this thing. I love the footage that I get from it. I enjoy how small it is. I mean, it just slides into a bag or a jacket pocket or something. And yeah, I'm happy I have it. But at the time, I don't know that I can really recommend anyone buying it unless this isn't a big purchase to you. Thanks so much for watching. If you haven't, a like and a subscribe would be awesome. And we'll see you next time. Cheers.